Kane is in the building.
We are on the air. You are listening to WMXM 88.9 FM, broadcasting live from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois. It's Dorm Room Sports Podcast. Listen online at WMXM.org and call us. Please call us at 847-735-6038 to make a request or comment or share your opinion, which we know many of you have. Quiggs, it's good to be back.
It's good to be back for episode 2, week 2 of Dorm Room Sports Podcast. What's the name of our podcast this week, Jim?
Well, you know, we lost our virginity last week, so we're looking good. It was a great show last week. First of all, let's just thank all of our viewers for all the comments they shared. A lot of Facebook comments, Twitter comments, and obviously just seeing us around campus, so we just want to thank everyone for that. Sorry for the little bit of a late start tonight. As you know, the internet connection was it was shaky, which is a common occurrence on this campus. But we're ready to get things kicked off. And Thomas, you know, tons of sports stories obviously going on this week. You know, we got the Bears playing, opening up the season.
Right.
But college football this weekend was something to remember. Tons of top 25 teams going down, and you were covering all of it.
Yeah, I was watching. I watched a lot of football this weekend. I basically barricaded myself in my room.
Oh wow!
And watched a lot of football. So obviously, college football kicked off. The first game technically was Friday, August 26th, and that was down in Australia. Hawaii played California. But then this past week on September 1st, you had your real start of the first week of football. So you had Appalachian State, Tennessee, which obviously went to overtime, which no one expected. And it was a crazy finish, too, in overtime. Josh Dobbs getting crushed. And then Tennessee obviously recovering his fumble in the end zone to score the touchdown. So I actually think, I'm not sure if this is updated, but I actually think Tennessee dropped in the rankings, even though they still won.
They still won, but, you know.
But not, and obviously everyone remembers the game against Michigan 9 years ago.
Yeah, when they upset Michigan in the big house. Chad Henne, Lloyd Carr, Mike Hart, all all-time Michigan guys, and they lose.
Throwbacks.
That was their senior year too. It was pretty insane that they lost their first game of their senior year to Appalachian State. A couple other games. I think Texas and Notre Dame was an absolute thriller. Watch that game a little bit. And then also LSU Wisconsin is another thriller.
Oh, that was a great game.
I know we got some Notre Dame fans up here. They called in last week. They're probably not happy, but no, we remember a question. I think. My friend Kevin Deneen called in, and he asked who was the starting quarterback. And Deshaun Kozer absolutely was very, very impressive in his first start. 5 touchdowns, I believe, to no interceptions. Yeah. And he just looked really good. The problem was Notre Dame couldn't get a stop on defense there in the end. But, you know, I mean, it's still a long season, but obviously, you know, tough to lose. I think there's no doubt in my mind they're a better team than Texas. But you know, when you a tough road game, and Texas is better too.
Texas has improved, and the first thing that you notice, obviously, watching that game last week, was Texas's quarterback.
Yeah,
who was absolutely massive. I just kept seeing the video of him running over a couple Notre Dame defenders.
Jeez.
Just an absolutely massive guy in the backfield for Texas. I actually asked one of the students on the campus. I brought up the Notre Dame Texas game. She's a big Notre Dame fan. It was a little awkward interaction, but I went for it anyway. Making friends fast. This week Notre Dame plays Nevada, so they still have that because they're not in a conference. They still get that freedom. With their schedule. Also, some other games in the SEC. South Carolina beat Vanderbilt. A couple of, I would say, mid to low level SEC teams. South Carolina's kind of on the rise again. Obviously, with the absence or the Steve Spurrier leaving. Pretty early on in the season last year. But they're looking to come back. And Vanderbilt is always. I compare Vanderbilt to Northwestern. They're really the Northwestern of the SEC.
Who lost, by the way? Northwestern took a tough loss to Western Michigan at home, And I know we had a couple. Remember, someone called in last week, and I'm not going to name his name because he's probably feeling it right now. Remember he called about Trevor Siemian, the Broncos going to be the starting quarterback,
right?
And Northwestern legend, and they were calling in about Northwestern football. And they lose week 1 at home to Western Michigan, so, their basically season's over. No, I'm kidding. No, it's
Big
not
Ten
over.
schedule means nothing.
But no, it absolutely just means no. And then other Big Ten, Michigan State, and besides Wisconsin, no other Big Ten team played like a top opponent.
No, Ohio State
beat
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
Let me see if I can pull up the score.
They beat them by like 70, I think.
Yeah, 77-10.
Yeah.
Which, it's a throwaway
Michigan
game.
won by 60, 63-3.
The Clemson-Auburn game was a barn burner all the way to the end. I was chilling in my room. And that game, it was an 8 o'clock start Central Time, so it ended pretty late. And it came down to a Hail Mary at the very end of the game. Clemson was able, Deshaun Watson and Clemson were able to pull that one out. Oklahoma lost to Houston. There was some talk earlier today that Houston could be making the college football playoff. I don't know about that. They're still pretty early.
Big week 1 win, it
was very big. Oklahoma obviously with a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback, and then you get the win, which is just huge. Texas A&M beat UCLA. That was an upset too. I think that game went to overtime as well.
Yeah.
Ranked UCLA lost to Texas A&M, which was crazy. The two ranked teams in North Carolina and Georgia. Georgia came out on top, so nice to see Kirby Smart get his first win for the Bulldogs. I'm obviously a big Kirby Smart fan. He came from Nick Saban in Alabama, one of the Nick Saban disciples. And you'll see his tree is growing throughout the SEC. You have obviously Kirby Smart with Georgia. And I know that the other coach from Alabama is now at Florida. I can't remember his name right now. But, yeah, obviously you mentioned Northwestern lost to Western Michigan by 1.
That's just a tough start to the year. I mean,
for our Illinois fans, the Illini beat Murray State 52-3.
There is a lot of people on the Illinois camps that are really excited about what's going on in Champaign with Lovie Smith.
I'm gonna be it's Lovie Smith. I still believe that you bring in a new coach, but you still have the same players.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll be a little better, but I don't think they're going to do anything special in the Big Ten. Talking about the opening week of college football. Now we, move into this weekend. Now, first of all, the games this past weekend for college that had to be one of the best opening weekends.
ESPN was publicizing it as the biggest opening weekend in college football history, which I believe it was. We didn't mention Alabama beat USC, blew them out of the water, which obviously I enjoyed. It was Alabama didn't have the hottest start in the world. They started Blake Barnett at quarterback, and then
he looks good. He looked good.
He looked okay. And then they brought in Jalen Hurts, the true freshman, who started there last spring.
Yeah.
And that's really like a game changer for college football. Is that early enrollee kind of stuff. So as you mentioned, it's going to be not as good of a weekend matchup wise, but obviously there's
still stuff to watch.
You'll still see some pretty good games. There's a couple games Friday night. 13th ranked Louisville is playing Syracuse. Maryland's playing FIU, and then you get into the Saturday games when
things get
the ranked teams are now playing kind of gimmies on their schedule, but. With what happened last weekend,
you never know.
Easy for me to say.
Yeah.
With what happened last weekend, you're gonna tune in because you don't know what's gonna happen. So
probably most of the I know you're more of a college football fan. I'm more of an NFL fan, so it's good. So we got
it's a nice balance.
Yeah, nice balance. So obviously this weekend's the opening weekend for the NFL, and obviously I scroll on Twitter usually every day at some point. More times than I'd like to admit. And I see
in
these
class
as I'm getting looks back here.
Studio audience.
Studio audience. More importantly, I go down Twitter and I see all these tweets from the Bear fans, and there are one of two things. One is everyone's super high; they think they're going to win 10 games. Wrong. Or they're super low, which I think they're going to be another middle of the road team. Like I said,
you guys suck.
You think
That's how I feel about that.
You think the Bears are going to be 5-6 win team?
I do.
which is okay. I think they could be a 7-9, 8-8 team if Cutler plays well. But obviously, focus this weekend starts tomorrow night. Obviously, the NFL. Carolina and Denver play tomorrow night.
That's going to be a really
Super
nice
Bowl
game.
rematch in Denver. Weird situation. Obviously, it's not the same. Obviously, the Panthers are bringing back their team. The Broncos are bringing back their team. Just Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
minus
Peyton Manning.
Trevor Siemian gets to start tomorrow. That'll be interesting. And then obviously the Bears. Obviously, probably a lot of Bear fans listening. They play the Texans, and we have the game preview up. I think the Texans have a nice shot. They won the division last year at 9-7. Obviously, I don't think they're that great. They brought in Brock Osweiler for a 4-year. I think his contract's $72 million. Tons of money.
That's like NBA free agency.
NBA free agency.
numbers.
Did he deserve that? No, but unfortunately, you have to overpay to get the most important position in football nowadays, which the Vikings can relate to with their pickup of Sam Bradford this past weekend, giving up a first-round pick. So, the Bears and Texans this week, I think it's a tough game for the Bears. I think they're going to lose, to be honest. I think on a road game in Houston is going to be a tough one. I like Houston's defense. Their defensive line, J.J. Watt, if he's ready to go. I know there's some injury concern there. If he's ready to go, I think they're going to, really disrupt the Bears' offensive line.
Well, you look at the breakdown offensively, and
they're around the same.
Yeah, they're
around
basically the same. Average, total yards per game is about the same. Passing yards per game is about the same. And rushing is about the same.
The Texans aren't a big offensive juggernaut. I think the key is going to be which defense is able to.
Yeah,
and I think I give the favor to Houston's defense.
And what I was going to say is, you can compare their offensive statistics and everything like that, but they didn't play the same schedule last season. So it's good to look at, but then again, you have to take that with a grain of salt.
And that's a great point you bring up, because if you look at every year when the NFL is, after the NFL season, obviously you got each team, where they land in the division. So basically, when you're a bad team, you get an easy schedule.
Right.
And the Bears this year have an easy. Green Bay has one of the easiest schedules in football this year. They finished second, so it's not like they finished third or fourth. The Bears probably have a pretty easy schedule too.
It's about the same, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point for the Bears. So I think that's where they can win some of their games. I don't think they're good enough, though, to win most of them and get to the postseason. And we got a call here.
Hi, this is Joel. I'd like to call in and ask a question.
Go ahead, man.
What's up, man?
Hey, man, how are you? So I got Maddie here, and our question is, how good do you think the Lions are going to do this year? What are you thinking, 8-8, maybe pull off a playoff spot? I mean, NFC North seems like it's up for grabs right now.
You guys suck.
The Detroit Lions.
I think they're a last place team this year. I think they could fight for third. I don't think they're gonna finish ahead of Green Bay and the Vikings. I know the Vikings have a lot of issues at quarterback, which that's a big thing. But I think just looking at the roster wise, the Vikings. I think the Vikings have the best defense in the division. Green Bay obviously probably has the best offense division with their quarterback. I did like some of Detroit's signings though. In the they brought in a nice receiver from Cincinnati in the offseason. I could see him at 7-9, 8-8.
All right, thank you.
Yep, have a good one, man.
Yep.
All right, talk to you later.
See you, bud. Yeah, so NFC North.
I guess we could break down the division.
I would compare it to the ACC of college football. It's.
I disagree.
I would compare it to that because
I think you could compare it to the Big Ten.
Okay. That's fair.
Because all right, what is the best division in football? Like a lot of people would point probably maybe to the NFC West with Seattle and Arizona, Arizona is predicted to be one of the best teams in the NFC this year, which but I can't pick a clear division in the NFL right now, which is super good. But I think one of them, if I had to pick probably a division that might be the best here, it could be the AFC North with Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I think Baltimore is going to get better. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati is a really good roster. They just can't win a playoff game.
Yeah.
And they absolutely choked last year against Pittsburgh to win a playoff game. Like, I mean, you couldn't script it any better for a team that's just like, that's the ultimate. I mean, the ultimate. I mean, Blair Walsh missing that field goal in the playoffs last year. That's as bad as it gets. But Cincinnati also pulled a really bad one too. That was awful.
Yeah,
like last year,
was hard to
those
watch.
penalties, and then the end of that game, and they basically gave Pittsburgh a playoff win. So I mean, I like that. The call with the Lions, like I said, they brought. I did like some of their signings in the offseason. They brought in I forget his name. The receiver he played on Cincinnati last year. It's not Theo Reddick or Golden Tate or
it's not Eric Ebron.
I thought it was Marvin. His name Marvin something. Maybe he's injured or something. I haven't followed the Lions at all.
Yeah, I like
obviously Calvin Johnson. Retiring. That's a big thing.
It's like a Marshawn Lynch situation.
Yeah.
And it's not like
they don't have that big like target anymore. Like
no.
You like every when you go into when you have to go like game plan for a team. Every week you have to. He's the guy.
He's the
guy. Like you have to make sure you game plan for him, and they don't have him anymore. And but I did like the way they finished the season last year. I mean, besides they actually could have finished. They should have won a couple more games, especially that game where they blew against Green Bay with the Hail Mary. How lucky that was.
Yeah.
But that's the Packers for you. I don't think they win this week at Indianapolis.
I don't think so.
I don't
either.
think they win this week. But they could surprise. They like I said, with the schedule, when you're bad, the Vikings have a tough schedule this year, and they have uncertainties at quarterback because Sam Bradford, he just can't like step in and like say, oh, I learned the offense, in a week. That's impossible.
Right.
You can't learn the language of an NFL offense in a week.
What my issue with the Lions is quarterback Stafford.
Well,
he's got all the physical tools.
Oh, absolutely.
He's obviously dealt with injuries in the past, but he's just never been able to put it all together.
Well, I think
their offense in general hasn't been able to do that. And so the first place you go is obviously to quarterback because he's running the show.
I think a lot has to do with their offensive line. I think it's awful. I think it stinks. I think their defense has gotten better. It's like gotten better, and they had a couple really good years where they were playoff teams. They never won a playoff game. But they should have won that like a couple years ago when they lost to Dallas in the first round. That was a brutal loss. Their defense got better. It just wasn't that good last year. Maybe they've regressed. I like Jim Caldwell as a coach. I think I think he's a good head coach, and obviously they had a complete change in ownership during the season last year, and they kind of rallied together. So I mean, you never know. I think they will. I think them and the Bears are going to finish third and fourth, but I could also see a scenario where the Vikings quarterback situation, if Bradford doesn't play well, he's also injury prone. We've seen Sam Bradford become injury prone.
Yeah, with the Rams.
Yeah, and if he doesn't step in and play well, they have huge quarterback concerns, and that could derail a whole season. They can lose. That's a 4 or 5 win season maybe. I think they're going to be fine because I think they got the best defense in the division. They also have the best running back, and they have a pretty good offensive line. So I'm excited now. I think Sam Bradford was a great pickup for people who are asking me during the week. I think Sam Bradford is not okay. Great is the wrong word. I saw that look at your face. Okay, great.
And Jim Miano tried to walk it back a little bit.
I think it's not great. It's the right move. I think, and the reason why is
you didn't want them to go get Kaepernick.
No, absolutely not. No, and then that's nothing to do with
No, right?
Yeah,
it's his playing ability in general.
Playing ability. I think last 2 years he's absolutely degressed. I don't think he's going to get better. I think he whines all the time. He's been a lot of there have been reports, and I don't know if they're true. When I watch First Take, Stephen A. Smith points out all the time about how like he isn't that well liked in the locker room, which is true. Which I mean, I could see that. I mean, and he's caused he's kind of like a controversial figure here to bring in.
Yeah.
So putting that all together with the way he's digressed, I don't think that was the right thing. The reason I felt like Sam Bradford is Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I got some backlash from people last week because I was saying that I was like sick to my stomach over his injury. I never said Teddy Bridgewater was an MVP quarterback because he's not.
Mr. Schick.
Yeah, he's not. Teddy Bridgewater's not an MVP quarterback. He's actually probably not that, like, his stats aren't that hard to replace. The reason I said is I thought he was the franchise quarterback where every year he continued to get better. And from this preseason, I really liked what I saw. And it was just very sad to see a guy's career take we never know if he recovers.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer. And the reason I think Sam Bradford's the right move is, first of all, I think he's the best available quarterback out there.
That's pretty sad.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. No, I'm not saying that it was a bad move. It was the right. I agree, it was the right move, but just the state of the NFL that he was the best quarterback out there.
Well, available.
Available.
Okay, because just think, getting a starting quarterback in the NFL, it's not like you just go shopping at the mall and pick out whatever you want. You can't do that now. So I think the reason I say he was the best available is because he's proven he can be a starter. He was drafted in the first round for a reason. He hasn't lived up to those expectations because one of the reasons I think it is because he hasn't had that much around him. And I think in St. Louis he didn't have receivers. He didn't have much of a running game with him. However, in Philadelphia last year, they had a terrible head coach. They had an awful Chip Kelly. Like we were saying, he's the homeless man in the NFL.
He's the NFL vagabond.
He's yeah. And so that didn't help. He wasn't in the right system. I think this is the perfect system for him. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be successful. He can make all the throws. I think it's the right move, mostly because one of the biggest reasons for me is he signed through 2 years. Teddy Bridgewater, this is a 12-month recovery, maybe more with structural damage. If he's not ready to go by next year, you got to have a better plan.
Yeah, there's got to be a plan in place.
So this is why they got him, and I think it's the right move. That's why I only think it was the right move. I'm not saying he's going to, be an MVP. I hope he puts up an MVP season. I don't think it'll happen, but a great move. That's my fault.
And I'll say about Bridgewater, he really put Louisville football on the map.
No, he did.
Louisville is always like your Kentuckys, like your North Carolinas.
Yeah.
They've always been straight. And this is, obviously college football is my fallback. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I go to.
Yeah.
He put Louisville football on the map, and I wasn't sold on him in college because he went to Louisville, and that's ACC football, which obviously I don't believe in.
Yeah.
But like those, he put them on the map, even though they were traditionally thought of as a basketball school. And he has gotten better throughout his NFL career, and it's just disappointing, like you said, because there was that potential growth coming into this season.
Exactly.
And a lot of the pieces were falling into place.
Yeah, the pieces around him were falling into place. That's why I thought he could be successful. I mean, bear in mind, last year he wasn't asked to do very much. Last year he was asked to manage the game.
Right.
This year I think they're going to open up for him a little bit. So I'm not saying he was going to put up an MVP season. I would never say something like that. I think he could have a very good season. I think he was on his way to becoming a very good quarterback, not an MVP quarterback. I don't think he'd ever reach the level of a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. But I think he could reach to like a pretty top 10 to 15 quarterback, which you can win a Super Bowl with in this league, just with a good defense.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 2014 draft, which is where Teddy Bridgewater
32,
went.
right?
He went 32 to the Vikings.
And they traded up. They traded with New England to get that pick.
The quarterbacks taken before Teddy Bridgewater in the draft
have not panned out.
Blake Bortles at 3.
Boo. Oh wait, no, he's had a good.
It's been
Derek
all right.
Carr, was he taken with Teddy? Derek Carr with Oakland. I think he was in the later rounds.
The next quarterback,
Derek Carr, he took it round 2. He's panned out.
Then Johnny Manziel was taken at 22 by the Browns, and we obviously have seen how that's gone.
Yeah, that's not gone well.
And as you said, Derek Carr taken at 36
Probably
in round 2.
Bridgewater, Carr, and Bortles. I mean, they've been somewhat.
They've been, I would call them serviceable.
Yeah, they've been serviceable, and Derek Carr's probably going to become more than so. He's probably been the best out of all three.
He has,
and he's put the Raiders somewhat back on the map. They haven't been, a doom and gloom.
I'll say before, because then was Amari Cooper 2013 then? For the Raiders? I think he was.
Good question.
We can look it up. But
I thought. You sure it wasn't 2015? You sure it wasn't a rookie?
It might have been.
I thought he was a rookie this past year.
I think he was. Yeah. So it was Amari.
He's
Cooper,
a great pick.
Amari Cooper in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So
they've had some good drafts.
It's exciting to see the Raiders starting to put things together a little bit.
Kind of like how the Vikings have built through the draft. The Raiders are starting to do the same thing too.
And now the state of California is getting obviously the Rams.
Yeah, they have the Chargers
and Jared Goff is from what I've heard number 3 on the Rams depth chart at quarterback. So that should be interesting.
Wow.
But it's exciting to see, and because for a while whenever there was a Raiders game on, I wouldn't want to watch it just because it was physically painful to view.
Yeah.
As a human being, that I could not sit through a Raiders football game because they were going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
So that's good, and it all starts with the draft and the quarterback position.
Are we gonna take a break here?
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
I have a feeling a phone call is coming.
Yeah, there should be a phone call coming.
Hi, I'm Al Roker. Let me tell you what's happening in your neck of the woods. Right now, 1 in 6 Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. These are our neighbors, friends, our co-workers, but we can do something about it. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find the local food bank in your community. I'm Al Roker, and together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear sighting, as in Smokey Bear.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste. He told me to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
I know that now.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
All right, we're back for the second half hour of our show. You are listening to Dorm Room Sports live on WMXM 88.9 FM. We're broadcasting live from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois. You can listen online at WMXM.org and call us at 847-735-6038 to make a request or comment. So we covered almost exclusively football, which was a lot of fun in the first half hour.
Yeah, and give you guys an update here. We're in the bottom of the 7th against Milwaukee. Brewers have 2 on, 1 out, and it's a 1-1 tie. Cubs have Trevor Cahill on the mound. The situation is, let's see here. Let me pull up the game day. Cahill's on the mound, and some guy named Pena from the Brewers is at bat.
Some guy named Pena.
I know a lot of guys in the Brewers. He's one that I don't know. He's one of the guys filling Jonathan Lucroy. So, yeah, bottom 7. Brewers are threatening with 2 on, 1 out. Cubs and Brewers tied at 1. White Sox won earlier today, 7-4.
Did they play the Tigers again?
They played the Tigers.
Are you serious?
And they took 2 of 3 from Detroit, who are fighting for a wild card spot, and they needed that one.
It seems like the Sox and Tigers have played each other nonstop. Maybe
the last time we talked, they were playing Detroit.
The last time we talked, they were playing Detroit. Those are the only 2 teams left in the American League.
Yeah, I think so, Tommy.
It's just crazy.
Funny thing here is, I guess if you want to look at the standings, what's going on in baseball right now. Baltimore's up a game on Detroit. The White Sox are 9 games out from the final wild card spot.
I still have faith.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't, because they're behind like 5 other teams. So
Got him.
Basically is You and I, before we got on the show today, we were talking about the Cubs and what the situation they're in at 89 and 49 right now, 40 games over 500. It's September 7th. They have, I think, they don't have many games left. I think like 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say
20 to 20. I think like
20 games,
just over 20. I think. And obviously they're tied right now, 1-1, bottom 7. But more importantly, we were just talking about the situation we're in. And I was watching the Cubs game on Labor Day on Monday on the nice projector we have in our room, thanks to Roofer, who's not going to be calling in tonight. So I'm kind of sad. But no, and I was just watching. I'm sitting there. I'm like, and usually, obviously you want to win every game, but right now, for the Cubs, like. They're just in absolute cruise control the rest of this month.
It's like the Warriors and the Spurs.
Yeah, and NBA.
Yeah, so it's like
you just don't see it in baseball that often.
No, you don't
because
like the season is so long, and it's hard to keep up that pace.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't believe that the Cubs have been able to keep that pace.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is. Like I said. Their magic number is going to go down tonight. I think it's going to go down to 9 since the Cardinals lost. So even if they lose tonight, their magic number went down. It doesn't matter, though. They're up 16 games. The Cardinals are in a deadlock wild card tie with the Mets. So have fun with that, McPherson. And then you got San Francisco up there. So but what we're saying is in a month. A little more than a month, I think. I can't tell you what the playoffs are going to start between obviously October, 5th and the 10th or something like that. The schedule's different every year because the season ends different every year.
Well, also you have those kind of playing
games too, which I think are going to be at October 5th. So,
it'll start
in
a couple
month.
days. Yeah,
in
a couple days after that.
In a month, the playoffs will begin. And I'm going to be watching all these games the next month here, and every game they're going to win some. They're probably going to lose some. They're resting guys. They're not. Maybe they could go hot or they could go absolutely cold. I don't know. It's probably not going to affect them that much. And then all of a sudden October's going to hit, and like I said, you're just going to go from as a fan too. Obviously, as a player, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
And all of a sudden, you're just going to play in a game. You're like, oh wow, the playoffs are here. Whereas some teams are going to be. So this month is their playoff, season where they have to win, majority of their games to get in. The Cubs, though, they're just going to, waltz in and then say wow, oh crap, the playoffs are here, and I mean, I think they're able to handle it because they got a good manager. But no, it was just interesting what we were talking about. Wow, as a fan, you're just going to, oh hey, the playoffs are here, I guess, oh crap!
Yeah, we have to actually start playing.
You gotta win. You gotta win.
That's the tough
that's
thing.
What it's all about.
It's really tough finding that balance.
Yeah, it really
between resting guys and then also, as you said before we came on the air, keeping them sharp. So it's a fine line, and then you immediately jump into playoff baseball when, for all intents and purposes, these games mean nothing.
No,
And obviously, you care if the Cubs win you want them to win every game as a fan.
Yeah.
And Eddie fan wants their team to win every game. And I kind of compare it to you had a minor league baseball internship this summer. I worked with a women's professional fast pitch team, which is it's professional.
Yes.
But it's still kind of lower level revenue wise, attendance wise, and everything like that.
Absolutely.
So from a general manager standpoint of those teams. Yeah, they care about wins and losses, but their main focus is revenue.
Yep.
So I kind of compare it to that situation almost where the GM for the Cubs, he wants them to win, but he also wants guys to rest.
Yeah,
he also wants guys to be healthy and to be ready to play when it's time, when the games mean that much more.
Yeah, and it's winning. All it matters if you win the World Series or not. I mean, that's all it comes down to.
If you have a major league team, that should be your sole focus, is winning the World Series. And if it's not, then you have an issue. And so that's, I think, what the Cubs are looking at moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically really all I can have out there. I mean, but all all I can have. That's really all I have in the Cubs is other than who's going to make the playoff roster. You got Miguel Montero, Chris Calgo, Thomas, all these guys who are up in September with the September call-ups, fighting to make the playoff roster.
I got an absolute kick out of the Tommy LaStella situation.
Oh, when he didn't report to Iowa. So, for all of you that don't know, LaStella got demoted to Iowa basically because he had an option left on his contract, which means he can be sent down to the minors without. So when you don't have an option left on your contract, you can only be sent down so much. So when those options, run out,
yeah.
When the team wants to, send you down, they have to release you. So they didn't want to release anybody. And LaStella had only option left, so they brought up Coughlin, who I'm not a huge fan of. I think I've never liked him, but he has, for some reason been somewhat successful with the Cubs. But anyway, LaStella didn't report to Iowa right away, and then that happened, and then he's back, so
the reports of them not knowing his whereabouts.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
just weird.
Hilarious.
It's weird, and but other than that, who's gonna make the playoff roster? Who's gonna start Game 1 in the National League Division Series? We can't answer that now because
we just don't know.
We can be opinionated about it. But even I'm not even worried about who's gonna make the playoff roster. Right now. I mean, we still got a couple more weeks for that. So that's really it for the Cubs. I mean, they're in good position. And I think you wanted to talk about some WNBA
stuff.
Yeah,
we're gonna jump into some basketball.
Oh,
and
boy.
Well, obviously the Olympics happened this summer.
Yeah.
And so you saw something unique to WNBA basketball is because it is during the summer. They have to take a break in their schedule to go for their 12 or 14 players to go play in the Olympics, and that happens obviously every 4 years. But then, so the WNBA season is picked back up. If you're a WNBA fan, I don't know how many of our listeners are.
Probably not many.
But we just wanted to run down some games for the weekend. The Seattle Storms are playing the Washington Mystics.
Big game.
The Chicago Sky are playing the Indiana Fever. These games are on Friday night. The Connecticut Sun are playing the New York Liberty. The Dallas Wings are playing the San Antonio Stars. I've never heard of the Dallas Wings.
I haven't heard. No, I have watched some of the. We've had some players from here work out with the Sky.
We
a
have,
little bit, and they run a nice organization over there. So just giving some up for them. They've done a nice job with it. They've been pretty successful. The Sky. I don't know who won the championship last year, but
they also have arguably the best player on the planet right now in Elena Deladon.
There you go. But it looks like from the score tonight, they didn't do too well.
No, they've got blown out by the Washington Mystics.
Oh, that's good.
118 to 81.
Jeez.
So you win some, you lose some for the Chicago Sky. WNBA is in their 20th season. Hard to believe that they've been around that long. And I don't say that from a pessimistic standpoint. I say that
it's been pretty impressive.
Purely from a revenue standpoint. They have to play during the summer because they share the same arenas as NBA teams. So they use those same facilities, and it's hard to fill them.
No, it is
for any team. It's hard for NBA teams to fill.
Yeah,
when the NBA teams who aren't as popular or they're not as big of a market,
they're working their tails off. Trying to get people into the game. Because when you do go to, it's probably a good time. When you go to a game. It's basketball, and there are a ton of great women basketball players out there. So. It's a fun league. Hopefully, some more people start watching.
So we're gonna hop over to the NBA now, and one of our listeners, who was a proud graduate of Lake Forest College, David Oser, out in California.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know what time it is out in California right now. Is it 8:43? I think so. So David Oser, one of our good friends.
I think they're 2 hours behind us, Tommy. 7:43.
All right.
We got to call
one of our good friends, Dave.
It could be David.
We'll see if it's Dave. We're going to talk some Golden State Warriors basketball.
Well,
and their huge acquisition of Kevin Durant this past summer.
It's them and the Cavaliers in the championship.
It's comical with the NBA setup right now.
Well, we got a call here. Go ahead.
Hey, yeah, is this James Arshik?
Yes, this is him.
That sounds like my roommate.
Go ahead. What do you got for us?
I want to talk about some hoops here.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
go
talk
ahead.
basketball.
Go ahead, talk basketball.
Am I on air?
You are on the air
live.
at
I'm on
WMXM 88.9.
Hey, it's delayed. That's kind of cool.
Well, you're usually supposed to turn the radio off when you come on the radio, but that's okay. You're learning, and we're learning how to do this too. So go ahead, and let us know your question.
My question is, what do the Pistons have to do this season to be a title contender?
What do the Pistons have to do to become a title contender?
Become the Cavaliers. No, seriously. Well,
let's say they got a great head coach, and Stan Van Gundy's done a great job with that team, and he did a great job last year. They're definitely on the rise. You know, you caught us off guard with the Pistons. We did not expect the Pistons call
we
tonight.
were not expecting a Pistons call. We're going to pull up some quick information so we can talk Pistons basketball.
You know, the Pistons, you know, obviously had those great years back in the early 2000s, you know, with
Chauncey Billups,
Rip Hamilton, you know, and
Tayshaun Prince.
And they went through terrible times. You know, oh, God, they got Joel Anthony on the roster.
Huge acquisition of Cameron Bairstow. Holy cow.
Wow, they're looking good.
They are title bound.
The thing with the Pistons is if they run into the Cavaliers in a 7-game series, there is no way they beat them. And unfortunately, but I still think they can have a good season.
I do like the Pistons bigs. Andre Drummond and Joel Anthony. Steve Blake is listed on the roster. He probably played college basketball somewhere around the 90s. He's still obviously...
Is he still on the line?
I'm on the line.
I'm surprised.
I do have another request. You know, I might have fallen asleep there for a minute, but you know, hey, can you guys play Rick Ross tonight?
No, we're not playing Rick Ross. Thank you for the call, and have a good night.
Thanks, Toth.
All right now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Andrew Toth, ladies and gentlemen.
That's my roommate.
So, good call.
Big Pistons fan.
Yeah, you know, for Detroit, they're definitely on the rise. They look good. They had a good season last year. But the season, not a good season, is kind of a nice term. They have an improved season last year. Stan Van Gundy's done a nice job.
They have some very nice pieces. Reggie Jackson at point guard.
Yeah, they do.
Tobias Harris, Marcus Morris, who obviously we remember at Kansas, him and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he's done insanely well in the NBA, but he's a solid basketball player. And we brought up Andre Drummond, Reggie Bullock, Lorenzo Brown, Cameron Bairstow. I'm not quite sure why he's listed on the roster, but okay. And Joel Anthony. So they have some nice pieces, and obviously you said improved last season.
Have.
And much like the NFC North
in football,
the NBA North.
No, it's the Central Division.
That's what it is. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Getting my leagues confused.
No, you're good.
The NBA Central Division isn't the hottest thing in the NBA either. So you have the Bulls, the Pacers. The Pacers are pretty good. They got Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that shakes out. It's really any team's
I agree.
It's a open race, we'll say, for the NBA Central.
It's Mark Davis, and he has a question about the Lake Forest basketball team.
All right,
so we're gonna get a call about Lake Forest basketball team. All right, you're on the air.
All righty. Hi, this is Mark Davis. Huge Lake Forest basketball fan. And I heard you all, I heard about the season last year. I was paying attention, and you all had a great season last year. Lost to St. Norbert. That's unfortunate, but I'm hoping for big things this year. I just wanted to know what you all were looking forward to or what you all were expecting from, the team this year, because I heard you only lost one guy, got a lot of talented freshmen coming in. So I'm just wondering what you all think.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for the kind words on last season. Last season was definitely a nice step in the direction for us. right step in the right direction for us. This season, this is obviously my senior year here, and I have to say I think we are the best. This is in my opinion, and I think everyone else's opinion on the team. Since we've been starting workouts, and the guys we brought in from the freshmen this year, I think we are the best. I think we are the best equipped in my 4 years to make a run at the conference championship this year. One thing I know is the freshmen we brought in, they're very hardworking, and the guys we brought back really have a knack of getting in the gym and getting better. So I'm looking for huge things. I expect us to be right there in the end, to be competing in February, March for the conference championship, right with St. Norbert's. I hope we have them in the same position as we do last year, this time at our gym instead. But I couldn't be more excited about this season. And I think we have the pieces to finally get Lake Forest College in the NCAA tournament for the first time.
Yeah. You know what? I'm really excited about that. I had one more question though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw some nice things out of the sophomore class last year, out of the freshman class last year. I'm sorry. What do you expect from them coming up? They had 1 year under their belt. What do you expect to see them do this year?
The sophomore class last year.
Freshman class last year.
Freshman class. We had some really good freshmen last year. Jordan Moran, Chad Bouchon. They had some really. Jordan was a really nice addition for our team. He really came on at the end of last year. He's really quick and athletic to the basket. And Chad really got better as the season went along. He looks real. I think he's gonna have a really nice. He's gonna be a really nice piece for us this upcoming season. And yeah, they just kept getting better, and they're looking good.
All right, yeah, thank you. That's all I wanted from today. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good night.
You too.
See you, Jordan.
So great to talk some Lake Forest College NCAA Division III Lake Forest College basketball.
Dave would be really upset right now that
Dave would be upset. We're going to talk about.
We totally
skipped over the Warriors.
We talked about the Pistons over the Warriors tonight,
and his savior, almighty savior, Steph Curry. I can't believe that we skipped over the Warriors, but
Steph Curry, he didn't play that well in the NBA Finals there, David.
Oh boy!
But no, I'm kidding, because you know what, he did struggle. But I mean, he's fantastic.
He got hurt early in the playoffs.
He wasn't 100%,
and they acquired obviously the biggest move. I would call it. I would say it would be on par with when LeBron joined the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
They acquired Kevin Durant from the Warriors. And Russell Westbrook is all by himself now in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his Morton Salt with him, and he's ready to go on and try to conquer the world by himself. I don't think that's going to happen.
Unbelievable.
So I'm being honest. Like,
unbelievable.
You saw the Jordan ad with the Air Jordan 31s coming out, and
absolutely,
some take flight and some fly away. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
like, how old are you? He still dresses like a child. I mean, come on. You can't tell I'm not a big Russell Westbrook fan.
No.
He's fun to watch, but come on.
It's, you know what? It is what it is.
So the Warriors picked up Kevin Durant and have almost certainly secured the Western Conference.
Probably, I think they're going to win the NBA championship this year too. Obviously, they just want to take a next step to, obviously they beat Cleveland last year. Cleveland was hurt though. This year, Golden State was a little bit banged up. Now, that's upcoming. They had Kevin Durant. I mean, it's almost going to become like a classic between the Warriors
it's like
and
the Lakers
Cavaliers.
and the Celtics in the 90s and all that stuff.
And the Warriors are, I think they're the team. I mean, they should be the team. I mean, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and then Steph Curry on the court at the same time.
One of the key losses for the Warriors was Harrison Barnes. He left to go sign a huge contract with the Mavericks.
I don't know if it's that key of a loss when you had Kevin Durant to the team.
Did I say key? I didn't mean key loss. One of the losses.
It's like when I said great pickup.
Yeah,
for Sam
Bradford. It's about the same.
It's all this. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Harrison Barnes probably played the least on the C squad for Team USA this summer in the Olympics. So that just kind of says what needs to be said about Harrison Barnes. He was a solid piece for the Warriors.
He was.
He could step out, hit the three, drive to the basket. So he filled his role.
Yep.
But then you look at his contract and you're just like, does that really work? I don't know. We'll see. But Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, just littered with talent on the floor. And they kick off their regular season on TNT at home on Tuesday, October 25th against the Spurs. So that's going to be a great opening night. Then their next game is the Pelicans, who obviously have Anthony Davis, which his game has improved so much. And coming out of Kentucky, I thought that he was going to be a bust.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, because he didn't have really any offensive aspects to his game other than grabbing the ball off the backboard. So he has improved leaps and bounds. So that game is Friday, October 28th in New Orleans on ESPN. So a nice start for the Warriors. Obviously, we can't say it enough. They have Kevin Durant now.
Yeah, I think they're NBA champions at the end of the year. Let me go back to that call about Lake Forest basketball, actually, because I don't like to forget people, Thomas.
We'll jump right back
because
over.
I had to, since we were had to get back to the NBA so quickly. Remember he asked about the freshmen. Well, one freshman that I did not talk about that I wanted to talk about was first Danny Sotos last year,
right?
Who, in my opinion, was definitely the best freshman in our conference, I think. And I think going forward, he's going to be the years to come is going to be an absolute stud in this conference, and he's going to light up the conference. So I just want to make sure,
nobody was left out.
No, I didn't want to leave anybody out. And there's other freshmen too. I didn't talk about everyone. I said Jordan and Chad. First of all, because I think that was Jordan on the phone.
I believe Marcus Davis.
Mark Davis. I haven't heard of a Lake Forest basketball fan, Mark Davis. That's an interesting one.
We were a little perplexed.
If he is, I'm sorry.
If that wasn't Jordan. But I think the laugh at the end of that call
really sealed the deal.
Jordan.
But I think
who's no doubt in my dorm room right now.
Just a shout out to the freshmen. Big, because with Toth calling. But Sotos, Jordan, Chad,
I think we got the whole room
Austin, and just everyone who they were a huge part of the group last year. So it's going to be I'm really excited for this year, and we'll see where it goes. I like what we're looking for.
So Jim just said shout out Austin Kahn, who is also one of the freshmen that was on the Lake Forest squad this past season. So this weekend, upcoming, we're going to be rounding out the show. Anyone with anything they want to talk about, we have 3 minutes left.
Make that last call. There was one, it's hard to get all our topics in because, within an hour, we like to, go in depth a little bit because we learned a lot of philosophy here at Lake Forest College to go in depth, to get philosophical. But it's
a liberal arts school.
The one move that I want to talk about actually is the Andrew Shaw move this year for the Chicago Blackhawks. The trade to the Montreal Canadiens for draft picks, and so we got some sad people in the studio right now. Big Andrew Shaw fans.
I very happy with that move for the Blackhawks.
I'm going to be more reasonable about it. I thought Andrew Shaw played absolutely excellent in the playoff series against the Blues last year. Did I think he was a huge piece? No, but I think he might, he could have become that huge piece to the core. It could have added to the core because I think when Coach Quenville said he was irreplaceable, I think that has a lot to say for. But also, I think it was the right move because you can't overpay a guy like that, and it's a really tough move, and it's a business move, and you need to get draft picks sometimes.
The way I see it is if the Blackhawks could get rid of Brandon Saad.
Yeah.
I don't think
they had to with the cap.
That's what I mean.
To. Yeah, they had to.
I know it was different different years.
Yeah.
Cap space was completely different. But if you can't find a way to keep Brandon Saad,
yeah, exactly,
you really shouldn't try that hard to keep Andrew Shaw. And I'm sorry saying that. He was a great piece for the Blackhawks. He was a role player who blossomed
in the playoffs. Besides that terrible penalty he took in Game 4 with the game on the line. But, we're not going to go too in depth.
That's
but
neither here nor there.
No. But, if you have a last-minute call, you got a minute. 2 minutes, a minute.
But, yeah, so if you can't find a way to keep Brandon Saad on the roster, you can't overpay for Andrew Shaw.
No, and it's just you can't afford to overpay when you're trying to pay Kane and Taves so much money, which they deserve. Besides, it would have been nice if Taves would have scored a goal in the playoffs last year. But it can't happen every year. So, and then you're talking about paying Crawford at some point. You can't pay everybody.
No, you can't.
And unfortunately, it's just some guys are gonna have to go. I know that makes
some of our studio audience a little upset.
But, just want to bring up a little bit of the Blackhawks because we haven't talked much about them yet.
Also exciting, the World Cup of Hockey is coming up later this month.
So we don't want to forget about hockey, too. We'll start talking about them more.
Yeah.
We got – this is about it, Quigs. Show 2 is about to be in the books.
Yeah, we're going to close this one out. Thank you for everyone calling in. Go follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @sports_dorm room. Go follow us on Twitter. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. This podcast, along with our first one, the First Kegger. This one is entitled "We Lost Our Virginity." This one will be up on YouTube within the week. So go follow us on Twitter. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. You've been listening to Dorm Room Sports on WMXM 88.9 FM, broadcasting live from Lake Forest College in Lake Forest, Illinois. You can listen online at WMXM.org and call us at 847-735-6038. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, y'all.